we'll talk lots of basketball here. We were just having a debate in the chat before you got here, which has suddenly become very important, has nothing to do with anything whatsoever. What are your feelings on turkey bacon?
I love turkey bacon.
Okay.
Love turkey bacon.
Do you consider it bacon?
Yes, definitely. Especially if it's crispy. You know, when you have turkey bacon, got to be crispy.
Okay, because I just, I see that sitting next to the bacon, and it's just like, they don't feel like they're the same thing.
No. Turkey bacon is good.
Okay.
If you don't prepare it right, it can be rubbery and it's like I'm chewing on a rubber band.
It doesn't, like, if I want bacon, turkey bacon is not satisfying that craving.
If it's crispy, yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Hey, to each his own.
Yeah,
I'm going to disagree with you, but
okay,
to
that's
each.
fine.
But
fine. We can do that.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. That you're like, no, you don't. You don't like it. But I'll just.
I love turkey.
When they're sitting next to each other on the breakfast buffet.
Obviously, you're gonna go with pork. No doubt, because it's tasty and.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's better for you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not better.
You got to know what you're going in for. But,
yeah, for sure. Right. You're cardiac arrest, but it is what it is.
Well, yeah, that's the gambles you take every now and again on the breakfast buffet. There's regular bacon there. That's sometimes you got to roll.
One morning when we were in Texas, in Dallas, Texas, I think I had 10 pieces of bacon for it. Yeah. So I was like preparing. I was like, hey, listen. I looked at Alex Klein and I said, if I die today, please just take care of my baby girl. That's
Let
all.
them know it was the bacon.
Yeah, it was the bacon. No doubt.
Okay. Well, see, sometimes you got to go in for it. All right, Griff. Let's get into these two games that it almost feels like almost indistinguishable, right? You've got the big leads in both. They go away late. Did it feel like you were watching things repeat themselves last night?
Yeah, definitely. In a certain degree, where I think at the end, we just didn't make enough plays to closing out the game.
Yeah.
And plays, it could come in and it's very broad when I say it, is because obviously it's making free throws. Obviously it's putting the ball in the basket when you got opportunities right around the basket where you can get in ones instead of a foul and going to the line and making one and missing one, right? So like it comes in like missing a loose ball rebound, right? So it comes in a very broad facet, but like in order to win games like that, especially on the road, those boxes got to be checked.
I mean, you look at, and Red mentioned this play at the end, you look at the rebound, and he's your best rebounder. Like, Eddie had the ball, right? And then he didn't have the ball, and it's one where the second the ball's in Eddie's hands, you all got to be feeling good, and then the next second it's not.
Yeah, to tie it up, and you know what? And I mean, no, he took it. But that kid made an aggressive play, which, benefited them. We wish we could have secured the ball a little bit more, but it happens, and stuff like that continue to happen to this team. And we try to help these guys understand, like, until things stop happening like that, we're going to get the same results, right? So, and that's just it. So it is what it is.
All right, so last possession, tie game. They've got the ball. Their big guys fouled out by this point. You guys put in Peter at the center, and I'm sitting there watching, and Theo Pinson, the Carolina players, doing colors. Like, you always got to watch out for the tip. And I'm like, okay, so they don't have their biggest lineup on the floor, but they have a more mobile lineup on the floor. Right. What's the balance there where you're sacrificing a little size, even though Peter's more mobile and probably a better defender at that point?
Just that, that's just it. Excuse me. We're thinking the same thing Theo Piskin is thinking, right? So out of the timeout, Coach B is, pulling the guys to the side and saying, hey, fellas, listen, we got to make sure that if they get a shot up, it's not looking at the ball, it's making sure we hit a body and pushing them out so that they don't get the offensive rebound, they don't get an opportunity to tip the ball in, right? My job is that I'm trying to figure out what they're going to run, because obviously it's my scout. Right. And then, Coach Dan is talking about one of the defensive situations. So, and then obviously Red is talking about, overseeing everything and putting everything in a nutshell. So, but the last thing that our guys heard leaving out, out of the huddle was box out. Don't let them get a second opportunity, right? And and it just happened. And the reason why we put Peter in the game is, like, defensively, in terms of mobility, Peter's better than Eddie and he's better than Naheem, right?
And he was guarding the inbounder, right? If memory serves.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's one of those things that, as a coach, you kind of look for matchups and stuff like that. And they didn't have the because if the 7'4" kid was out there,
that's different.
Naheem or Eddie would have been out there, right? So again, they won the matchup, and sometimes that's it just happens.
You think JJ's shot was going in there?
I did.
Yeah, I'd say I still don't know if he got it off in time, but it was close. But it was in the air. I'm like, that might go in.
Yeah, no. You know what? The crazy part about that is that when they made him change direction, I was like, oh my God.
Because that soaks a lot of time.
Yes, I was like, oh my God, he might not get this shot off.
Right.
But
he got a way farther up than I would have guessed.
Oh, no doubt. He was able to change direction and get the ball up. And you know what? Some people might not think about Coach Autry in terms of, his coaching style, or he can't coach or he can coach. He was one of those guys. He was willing to be like, you know what? Just go.
But that was discussed, right?
Yeah, it was good. Just go get it back. Because you know what? The chances, if we let the team set up, are very slim.
At that point, you're throwing a half court.
Yeah,
no
you're
doubt. Running one of those Grand Hill plays, right?
We got the best shot possible in that situation, and you know what? It just didn't fall, and it is what it is.
How frustrating was that trip? Because man, you're sitting there at Virginia Tech. What was it? You're up 13 with 8 minutes left. Last night you're up 12 with 10 or whatever it was. Where you take a snapshot, then it's the best stretches you've played all year, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
To come back with 0 wins has got to really, really hit you guys.
It really hits us hard, and you kind of feel for the guys.
Yeah.
Because again, the one thing that I can credit this team on is that they come to practice and they come to play every game. Sometimes the results just don't end up the way the effort is put in.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys are, trying their hardest, and that's all we can ask for. And again, it sucked, coming back 0-2 in this trip when we definitely had opportunities to win in not just one game but both. Tomorrow practice we'll watch the film, we'll break down the film, and I think the message would be to these guys that you guys are right there, right? If you guys want to make a run, you know what? If you're up 12, you make the necessary. You got to finish it out. If you're up 8, you got to finish it out. There's nothing more to be said. There's nothing, no motivational speeches, no motivational videos, no nothing. It's like, hey, listen, if you want your fortune to turn, is that we have to make the necessary plays down the stretch. And that's just a numerous amount of things. It's making free throws, making the necessary plays when you have to, especially on both ends of the court,
mm-hmm.
and then, coming up with the 50-50 balls, beating them. So if you have 5 50-50 balls, it got to be 4-1 or 3-2. You can't be 2-3 or 1-4.
And I look at these games too. Yeah, you were up, but you know how all these games go. Every one of these games has gotten tight at the end, right?
Yeah,
like even if you're up 12, you can't stop thinking about those plays, right? You're going to have to make those plays eventually.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what it comes down to. Like if you look across the country, in every game, in every close game, I don't care if it's a top 25 team or I don't care if it's low Division I situation. When it comes down to it, players make plays, and you have to make the plays necessary to win in basketball games. And sometimes it could be something that happens in the first half, not alone, with 20 seconds left in the game.
Where's JJ at right now? Obviously, he struggled shooting the ball last night. He was 3 for 17. A lot's on his shoulders. So where's he at right now?
Yeah, JJ's confident. Like, you know what? I think if you're not confident, you don't take 17 shots in that game, right? And I think JJ's in a good spot. Hopefully he stays confident. I think the one thing that we're going to encourage him is to continue to take those shots because we've seen him make them too.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to uplift him and stay positive with him, and hopefully he get those same opportunities on Saturday against a really good Virginia team. He make them.
What's the balance there when JJ's struggling, but he's your best player?
Mm-hmm.
Lucas Taylor came out hot last night. Chris Bell had a decent game. Like, was there any thought of putting those two out there, or is it just like JJ's our best player? Like, it doesn't matter that he's struggling. He's got to be on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, when you have JJ out there, the other team has to adjust to us, right? Where, and this is no disrespect to Chris or Lucas, but in terms of who JJ is on the court.
They're not putting the pressure on the rim or anything
of course,
like that.
Right? So now, you have to adjust, right? And you got to keep JJ on the court because he gives us the best chance of, executing, on the offensive end in terms of what we're trying to do and maybe hopefully being able to make a play for himself or make a play for somebody else.
Is that, I guess, why Lucas and Chris got the shots in the first place, right, that he's on the floor?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he, JJ draws attention, just as much as Jair and Eddie, right? And that's a good thing for us, and that generates a lot of offense for us. But we still got to be able to capitalize on getting those opportunities.
Alan Griffin with us. It's our weekly visit here with Griff. We got a week, or we'll see, left in the season here as it's all sitting in front of you. Virginia coming up on Saturday night, and man, that's kind of a weird vibe with Virginia, right? Like you've met them in way bigger games, right? How different is this year?
I'll be honest, Red said it like 3 weeks ago, and I think he was just sitting at home and he was watching Virginia play against a team that we was about to play against, or watching it on TV. And I remember him coming in the next day and we sitting in a meeting. He was like, "Man, fellas, Virginia's freaking good. They're really good." And obviously going through what they went through at the beginning of the year, it kind of set them back a little bit. But right now, they're playing just as good as anybody in the league.
Who'd they be? Florida State the other day? They beat somebody. I think it was Florida State. They beat somebody Tuesday night. Does it matter at all? Are you looking at seedings and stuff, or are you just going to wait till 10-ish on Saturday and see who you're playing?
Yeah, we just got to wait to see who we're playing, man. I think that's it. Obviously we want to go out and we want to perform well and win on Saturday, especially for, the guys that will never play in the Dome again in terms of this capacity in college basketball. But, win, lose, or draw, we're just trying to figure out who we're going to play and then start preparing for that and see what can happen.
You look at a senior day this year, and you got the 4 guys you brought in out of the portal. Is that weird? I don't know what senior day is anymore, because you used to think you 4 years, you build up. Yeah. Now you got 4 guys that were here a year. I don't know what it is anymore.
It's very weird because obviously the tradition of senior day. Yeah. And for me, being a part of this university and being a part of a senior day here, which was a special, event that I'll always cherish the rest of my life. So it's a little bit different now. But, the satisfying thing that you get out of it is that these guys were able to come here and take in our culture, take in our community, take in the stuff that we value as former players and everything, and value that stuff for the short period of time that they have. It shows that these guys are really good guys, and they tried to buy in as best as possible to what we were trying to do in the community and stuff like so forth.
We talked about this, I don't remember, a few weeks ago, Griff, about the idea in this day and age that you got to make sure those guys have a good experience, right? Because it's going to directly affect who's on your team next year.
Definitely, it'll affect recruiting. It'll affect either high school or portal. But it just if even if you bring in a new coaching staff, or whatever, it will affect that because people, they tend to look at what happened in the past. You cannot ignore the past, right? You're going to tap into the past to some degree, and it can have a direct effect depending on how positive or negative it is, right? So, given said that, the one great thing about the team is that our guys continue to play as hard as they can, and they're pushing to trying to win as many basketball games moving forward as possible. And you know what? We came up on the the wrong end of the wrong end of the stick in these last 3 games, but hopefully we can take care of business on Saturday.
It's just watching the women's game earlier. They end up, they blew a big lead. They end up down 3. Georgia Woolley, like literally last career shot is short. Game over. Burst into tears. Like, these are the moments you guys are going to be dealing with next week, right?
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully that don't
maybe they'll be happy tears.
Yeah. Happy tears, and that don't come until later in the week, right?
Yeah.
And that'll be good tears. Yeah, happy tears, right?
Yeah.
Us, going on a magical run like NC State. Who say we can't do it, right?
Yeah.
That's for our team and the people that surround our program every day to believe in, and I think that's just the message.
All right, so we speak on Wednesdays, Griff. Hopefully this means we're not talking on Wednesday because you're playing.
Yeah, but we definitely still speak, though.
Yeah, well, we'd have to figure. It would get a little interesting because I don't know if I'd have a show. We might be having a post-game show or a pre-game show if you guys are playing in the middle of the afternoon. So
I mean, we can
I'll bother you.
We'll pre-record.
Well, we can't.
Pre-record. We've pre-recorded before.
I'd just say the pre-record. If there's then a game that will have happened before we play it, that could be an issue. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but that could be a good thing.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It's like, wow, Griff was really excited, and it went a different way. We'll see. Or we may talk on Thursday next week or Friday.
Sure.
I don't know. We'll talk at some point. All right, Griff, always good to see you, man.
Yep, definitely.
There he is, our guy, Alan Griffin, here in this hour, brought to you by William Batar. We'll take a break. Phone lines open here when we come back, 315-437-7644. Getting some lacrosse next hour with defensive coordinator John O'Dearna. We're back after this here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.